Hey, gang, why you join the army?
The freakos.
Freak. Say, gang, what you join the army for?
Man, I couldn't even tell you, but boy, they got me on the contract for 5 more years.
Hey, my boy, why you join the army? That boy got that Hellcat. So, Swin, why you join the army?
To pay for school and learn the tools to protect the people I care.
Hey, Lewis, why'd you join the army? Hey, Masters, why'd you join the army?
Because I was fucked on Sarn so bad.
Hey, Jones, why you join the army? Today, why you join the army?
Came to kill some motherfuckers, bro.
Oh, damn, for shit. Hey, Carol, why you join the army?
She kept me out of the pen.
Oh, my boy was going up state. Hey, Specialist Bowling, why you join the army?
Free college, honestly.
Okay, get your money. Hey, why you join the military?
Bruh, for college, and I ain't even get there yet.
Hey, Noah, why'd you join the army?
School.
You a lie. Hey, bitch, sorry, what you join the military for?
Oh, man. What?
Hey, sorry, why you join the army?
I thought you about to show me a video.
College.
For college? Yeah. Cool. Hey, man, why'd you join the military?
Because I'm broke.
No shit.
Come on. Good evening, and thank you for joining me for Conversations with Taz. Started off on a light note. We've got a few hot topics that have popped up within the day, and one that just popped up within the past hour or so that, I was made aware of. But kicking it off, coming from the Daily Mail UK, blackmail won't win. Maddie Cawthorn defends himself after sex tape is leaked showing him naked and thrusting his groin at a person's head as he claims he is simply being crass with a friend trying to be funny. I don't know what kind of friends he has, but the key points from this article is that a video was published by American Muckrakers PAC showed Representative Maddie Cawthorn naked and thrusting his pelvis at another man's head. He could be seen in the video screaming and chanting as he thrust his pelvis. Someone else in the background could be heard laughing and telling Cawthorn, 26, to stick it in his face. Cawthorn has now said that the video, which has gone viral on Twitter, was a joke from when he was being crass with a friend trying to be funny. It is just the latest scandal the North Carolina congressman has been embroiled in after he claimed that senior officials invited him to an orgy. Photos released last month also showed him in lingerie for what he says was a game on a cruise ship. He is also being investigated for ethics violations after another video showed one of his staff members grabbing his crotch. Cawthorn is now facing a contentious GOP primary as he runs for re-election. This right here, conservatives, especially Republican conservatives, are showing their true colors left and right. We know that they are the true heathens and try to take the moral high ground and govern everyone from doing what they are doing. They really want to be the 1%ers as far as everything. But this goes to show that they already knew what he was doing, who he truly is at his core, and they were protecting all of this from getting out. When he snitched on them, they were like, oh, we're going to release it, because you don't just overnight come up with all of this stuff. This reminds me of friendships gone bad or faux ships, where one person or people will sit there and keep receipts from the beginning of the friendship until the end, so that when it ends, they can be like, see, I was the bomb. They shit. Here, look. Because ain't nobody pulling this shit out back to back this quick. Nobody. And especially while the GOP is pushing all this, we have the moral high ground. We're so much better. But from that, this shit show of the United States, it gets better. Let's roll the clip.
So apparently, Shawnee, a community just outside of Kansas City, Kansas, has just banned cohabitation. This unanimously passed 8-0 in the city council that 4 people that are not related, either be family or through marriage, cannot cohabitate. Basically, you cannot have roommates totaling 4 or more people. Or if you have 3 family members and an extra roommate that may be renting a room or something, that disqualifies you from being able to rent to that person. So in a era of skyrocketing rents and housing costs, they're prohibiting people from cutting those costs and living together. What stage of capitalism is this?
It's the United States version of fascist-based capitalism. And they're going to keep with these morality laws. And it's so ironic and incredibly hypocritical that the party of small government is backing an increasing amount of big government in everyone's life. These patriots scream to the hilltop about the freedoms they hold near and dear and they love so much as they vote away all of their freedoms and all of the freedoms for the rest of us. I mean, I've seen it coming for decades now, but now it's knocking on everybody's front door. So that cute little college apartment that you wanted to get for your daughter or your son and their best buds so you can make sure that they were safe and kind of keep an eye on them. Not in that area. The little apartments and little houses you like to purchase and just rent to family members, and you may have some from the husband's side, some from the wife's side. Not anymore. Now, going into this next one, this is why a lot of Black people are staying out of a lot of conversations and a lot of, excuse me, fights. Because globally, we are just not respected. The diaspora has yet to be viewed as human by the world. Not sure what I mean? Pay close attention.
Have you heard the latest report of overt racism out of Europe? Germany is evicting Afghan refugees to make way for Ukrainian refugees. I wish I was making this up, but Afghan refugees are being evicted by Germany to make way for Ukrainian refugees. And while there's no good way to evict people, Germany is giving the Afghans only 24 hours. A knock on the door and then an order that you have to leave within 24 hours. No questions, no negotiation, no option on where to go, just get out. Unsurprisingly, these evictions were not publicized or reported to the media right away. People who lived in their home for years applying asylum and seeking support, children denied access to their own schools, all to make way for Ukrainian refugees. All in all, Germany has accepted about 12,000 Afghan refugees and 316,000 Ukrainian refugees, which makes it all the more absurd that they can accommodate 316,000 but not 12,000. And what I love about the Afghan people is they're not blaming Ukrainian refugees. They're simply asking for the same humane treatment.
Isn't it amazing that there's no money for help, there's no room for anyone, there's no compassion when the individuals seeking compassion and sanctuary have melanin. But the moment they are melanin deficient, everyone is bending over backwards to help. They are breaking the banks. They are finding money that they claimed that just never existed. I guess they can just print money. And these are the things that play out in front of everybody's eyes in real time. And you still have people that will fix their face and say racism doesn't exist, or that's solely an American thing. If it's solely an American thing, why was so much of the globe colonized and not by melanated people. Hmm. Let's get to the next clip.
So why was it you ditched the Proud Boy motif?
Proud Boy.
Yeah, you know, the hat and the little thing you got going on.
The Project Veritas hat?
Yeah. Fascist enabler.
No.
You're in an agreement with stripping 50 years of precedent.
I am agreeing with protecting the life of the unborn.
Are you for the child tax credit?
Sir, this is a completely different...
Are you for increased SNAP benefits?
This is a completely different argument.
No, because if 80,000 people are born into poverty, how are you going to fund
Are you mad that
the increased
cancer industry...
the cancer industry?
The organizations that fight against cancer, are you against them because they don't fight against diabetes?
It's cause and effect. If children are born into poverty
sir.
and you don't support the
That's
child
a whole
tax
different
credit
argument. It's
or
a whole
increased
different
SNAP
argument. It's a
benefits
whole different
or
argument.
poverty
It's a
abatement
whole
measures,
different argument.
it is not.
It is.
It is
Yes.
the same argument.
Life begins at conception. So
It does. Where is that in the medical journals?
it's a worldwide medical consensus. You can look it up.
It's a worldwide medical consensus that life begins at
So many
conception.
studies.
But that was amazing that forced birthers, that's what I like to call them, love to say that a child, once consumed, the decision should be made that that child must be born. But once the child is born, they say it's a completely different discussion on how to sustain that child properly so that they can grow into a viable, fruitful portion of society. And when it comes to that, there's never enough funds. They can never justify giving those funds. These are the same people cutting funds for school lunches, penalizing children for needing sustenance during the school day. Because our school system is just to set you up for a minimum of an 8-hour work week. It's not really to educate you. When you really listen to people discussing the issues that are currently at hand, you know that. You know that it is 100% lacking. There's no getting around it. So it's okay to force someone to give birth, but discussing how they are supposed to survive and not shaming them once said child is born is a separate discussion. And the good book that they covet so much, but never read and never live by, the tenets within the book, says that life begins at birth, not conception. Because if that's the case, shouldn't we have funerals for every miscarriage? I mean, if we're just going to say a clump of cells is a living, breathing, self-sustainable being, are we going to start having public free funerals for every woman's menstrual cycle? Because that is a clump of cells coming out. See how ridiculous that sounds, you guys? But for all of the men who love to jump into this fight, and I shouldn't say men, all of the people without a uterus who have never been pregnant and who plan never to be pregnant and will never have to face this medical decision or procedure, here's a clip I want you to watch. It is from a movie, but it does hold true. Let me grab this comment real quick. Yeah, gives you something to think about when you kind of change the perspective on things. Now, as easy as it is to get biblical to say that's the reason why, even though you don't understand the complexities of a woman's body, nor the basis of anatomy and physiology or biology, or just bare bargain basement science, in all legality, a man's body could be just as easily or even more easily regulated and his bodily autonomy stripped from him. Because I'm pretty sure if we started stripping the bodily autonomy from men, they wouldn't have so much to say. And for the religious zealots, bite your tongue and watch the following. I love how the final individual points out that specifically in the Catholic Church, you have male priests who are barred from being married. They have no children. They have no idea about the birthing process, theoretically. But they govern and determine what is right and what is wrong and what is holy and what is not. So they're willfully going against the text, the guideline, the guidebook, if you will, of their own religion. And in hearing that, it reminds me of something an older Italian woman said. And she said this to me in my early to mid 20s. She said, "Why do you think so many criminals, especially mobsters and members of the mafia, are Catholic? You can do whatever you want, go in and confess to another man, say a few Hail Marys on the rosary, and you think you have a clean slate." Some people have asked me over the course of this week why I don't quote a lot of statistics when it comes to certain things. And it's because I know how easy those statistics are to be skewed. And let me explain what I mean when I'm talking about abortions. The statistics are gathered by what is written down medically as an abortion, whether it's spontaneous abortion, clinical abortion, whatever. A lot of these one percenters, a lot of these well-to-do politicians that are on the, "Oh, we're squeaky clean, we're so holy, you should listen to us." If you think that they haven't paid for, had, or moved some things around to ensure that an abortion occurred, you're sadly mistaken. They just mark them down as DNCs. They'll get their buddy, who's an MD, write it down as the miscarriage has already happened and it just needs to be cleaned out. Everybody down that chain of command knows what to do. So it's written up in the medical record that, oh, it was, everything was already done by the time she got to us. We just cleaned her out to, help her out. Yeah, that's what they do. And they will look you dead in the face and tell you, "No, I've never had an abortion," on paper. And once again, before you come from my neck and go, "Taz, you're stretching it, darling." Still don't want to believe me? And abortion is 100% healthcare. And here's a fun fact. Before Roe versus Wade, and even after the original decision came down, abortion was not a big deal to evangelical Christians, to the super religious. It became that way when parochial schools, those governed by churches, specifically the Catholic Church, needed to increase their funding. How do you think they got donations to increase? We have been having this debate in my house for days because of my medical conditions and what a pregnancy could do. I have family saying I'm wrong for my views on this topic. Here's my suggestion. Ask them, how are they helping you sustain a quality way of life right now? And should you become pregnant and lose your life or become cripplingly disabled, what bills are they going to pay? What chores around the house are they going to pick up? If you and said child both perish, are they going to help current family members deal with that trauma? Are they going to pay for therapy bills? Are they going to handle your final expenses? Because everybody seems to want to push for someone to give birth, but when it's time to help after the birth, they're MIA. And that's whether you have an abortion or not. I have 4 wonderful children. Each time I was pregnant, there were a slew of people, especially family. Oh, if you need my help, I'll be there. Da, 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 da. Each time I call, oh, that's what they always have. And there's some justification to ridicule you. You're damned if you get an abortion. You're damned if you give birth. Once you give birth, it's always when you're going to give them a sibling. You're damned if you have one child. You're damned if you have multiple. Why you keep popping out all these babies? You look tired. You would have more money if you wouldn't have become a parent. And let's face it, everybody is not built for the lifelong career of parenthood, because parenting does not stop at 18. Parenting stops when you hit the grave. Exactly. All of them do nothing. Everybody wants to tell everybody else how to live their life, who to have in their life, what to do in their life. But then when it comes down to it, they're offering nothing but a whole bunch of lip service that everybody could honestly live without. Okay. Gotcha. Here is, oops, click the wrong thing. Let's go to this next clip. I am old enough to remember how often, whether it was local news, statewide news, national news, or even international news, how often clinics that a lot of times didn't even perform abortions. They were just giving affordable and or free health care to women, were set on fire, were bombed. Doctors had to take special routes and procedures in order to get to and from work. Doctors were being gunned down outside of the clinics, outside of their homes, inside, yes, inside and outside of their churches. You're so religious, but you're going to kill somebody in church. But isn't it funny that all these good old patriots that want to save human life take more lives, endanger more lives, drive more people into mental health crises and poverty than they've ever saved and that they ever will save? And they just keep justifying it. They'll scream, that's murder, 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 while committing actual acts of murder. And their fellow patriots, the forced birthers, will be like, that's a martyr, that's a hero there. What? But if I don't comply too quickly with a police officer, or I decide to fall asleep on my couch while watching TV, and a police officer just decides they're in the wrong apartment, that my home is now their home, or I look suspicious through a window, sleep, I should be murdered. And that's okay. That's justified. That's just doing their job. But I guarantee if any of these individuals was put in a position where they had to choose between themselves and a clump of cells that may or may not even survive, they're going to choose themselves. If they had to choose their wife, their mother, their daughter, their favorite cousin, their best friend, who do you think they're going to choose each and every time? Now, yes, there are some uber extremists. Accounts of them have even made it into television shows and movies where we've seen them try to pray everything away. Oh no, we got to protect the new life because that's going to keep our lineage going. All of this roll back to no one but cisgendered, straight, Christian, wealthy men having any type of rights or freedoms is because there was a dip in the birth rates of Anglo-Saxon babies within the United States for the first time. Don't believe me? Google is free. Look at when they found out that there was a dip. And look at all these shenanigans. Now on to even crazier, I cannot believe this is really happening, news. Let's start with a clip, then I'll come back to the article because, yeah. Oh, wait. There's more. I am still verklempt at just how casually they walked out. And no, I'm not a corrections officer. No, I've never been to prison. But I'm just going to assume that they must have a multitude of cameras just for security purposes. And I just cannot imagine a corrections officer walking out in front of an inmate with no kind of backup, just casually and just, oh, let me hold the door open for you. But it. Yeah. They did. And coming from, excuse me, CBS News, corrections official Vicky White was in phone contact with fugitive murder suspect Casey White in prison months before escape. Excuse me. An Alabama sheriff said Thursday that a jail official was in phone contact with a murder suspect in prison many months before helping him escape last week, and that her actions suggest their plan had been in the works for some time. Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton previously said that Vicky White had visited excuse me, Casey Cole White while he was serving time in Donaldson Prison, but on Thursday, Singleton said that was incorrect and they were in contact via phone. I was about to say, how is the CO just coming in as a visitor to him? But okay. Singleton previously said the communication indicates the two had some type of relationship before possibly up to 2 years before the escape. The communication occurred after the inmate was transferred out of the county jail in 2020 because of a suspected escape attempt then and before his return to the jail in February for court proceedings in the ongoing murder case against him. A nationwide manhunt is ongoing for Casey White, who was awaiting trial on capital murder case, and Vicky White, the assistant director of corrections for the jail in Lauderdale County, after the pair disappeared Friday. Now, there is a woman who's fairly local to where all of this went down, and she had infiltrated some Facebook groups that were talking about it. And a few updates that I was able to gather from what she posted is Vicky's home from her first husband was appraised at over $200,000. She did a quick sale and only got $90,000. She purchased a newer car, like all of these things leading up to it. So yeah, and how casually she just walked out of the prison with him, that is not distress. But, and some good history-making news, Karen Jean-Pierre to be next White House press secretary. President Joe Biden on Thursday named Karen Jean-Pierre to be the next White House press secretary, the first Black woman and openly LGBTQ person to serve in the role, with incumbent Jen Psaki set to leave the post next week. Jean-Pierre takes the role as the White House faces an uphill battle to help Democrats hold on to the House and Senate in the fall's midterm elections, and as the administration struggles to address Americans' concerns about soaring inflation and the state economy. She also comes into the job as Biden faces a daunting array of foreign policy changes, including the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine and North Korea's escalating nuclear testing program. Biden is set to visit South Korea and Japan later this month, in Europe and in June. Corinne not only brings experience, talent, and integrity needed for this difficult job, but she will continue to lead the way in communicating about the work of the Biden-Harris administration on behalf of the American people, Biden said in a statement praising Jean-Pierre, who has served as his principal deputy press secretary since Inauguration Day. And Jen Psaki will be leaving the White House on May 13th. So with this administration, we are continuing to get some great historic moments. We just need more that are going to be more long-lasting and impactful, and what we were actually promised during the previous presidential election cycle. I don't know why I can't speak today. Okay. Gonna try to shotgun it through these last ones. Coming from NBC News, this is some what the fuck shit. United Airlines passenger opened emergency exit of moving plane in Chicago and slid down the wing. Charges are pending after the of course it was a male passenger, who was not identified, was arrested at O'Hare International Airport, Chicago police said. A passenger aboard a United Airlines flight opened an emergency exit and slid down the wing after the plane landed Thursday morning in Chicago. Woo! Okay, glad it was landed. Prompting his arrest, authorities said. United Airlines confirmed the incident at O'Hare International Airport in a statement. This morning, United Flight 2478 was taxiing toward the gate at Chicago O'Hare when a passenger opened an aircraft door and exited the plane, the statement said. Our ground crew stopped the individual outside of the aircraft, and the person is now with law enforcement. The plane then arrived at the gate, and all passengers deplaned safely. The safety of our customers and crew is highest priority. The flight took off from San Diego on Wednesday night and landed at about 5 a.m. Thursday, according to FlightAware, which tracks flights. An arrest was made, Chicago police said in a statement. A male subject was on board a plane that was approaching the gate when he pulled the emergency exit and walked onto the wing of the plane, the police said. The subject then slid down the wing onto the airfield. CPD arrived and placed him into custody. Charges are pending. Why? Like, you've already shown all sorts of ID. You probably have luggage on the plane. What was this doing, my boy? Was this a dare? Was this one of those crazy YouTube pranks? Like, I have all the questions and zero of the answers. But I will say, of course, it was a man. This is why it's so stressful to be a woman, because we're tasked with keeping you all alive. Now, this story, I don't know if this is the reach or misinterpretation, because I read this and then I went to go look at the music video that this article references, and we'll see. Coming from hiphopdx.com, A$AP Rocky proposes to Rihanna through his grills in D&B video. A$AP Rocky's highly anticipated D&B, That's My Bitch, single and accompanying visual arrived on Thursday afternoon, May 5th. Rihanna stars as his love interest in the music video, but sadly doesn't provide any vocals on her Booze record. The cinematic clip is directed by Rocky and shot in the form of a motion picture camera roll. Fans will recognize photos from last summer of Rocky and Riri hanging out on an apartment's fire escape that made it into the video. The hood love story finds Rocky showing love to his girl and drugs/alcohol. Got a penthouse, see the Bronx Zoo. Got a townhouse with a town view. Got surround sound with the top down. Ride through Allerton up to Sound View. I was lost then, but I found you, he raps. The A$AP mob leader even proposes to Rihanna through his grills, spelling out "marry me," and she responds, smiling through her pearly whites with "I do." The couple walks down the hallway in a shower with rose petals, and clip concludes with Riri and Rocky sharing a tender kiss. Now, see, I'm kind of thinking this is a misunderstanding or misinterpretation, because when I watched the video, and it is available on YouTube, that's how I watched it, the scene opens like Rihanna has like this red veil on, and the veil is lifted up. And then it cuts to A$AP Rocky, and he smiles, and his girl does say "marry me," and then she smiles back, and it's a close up of hers, and it says "I do." That sounds like wedding vows, like. And I noticed that all of the pictures, all of this was filmed. I don't know if it was before she found out she was pregnant, but she does not look pregnant in this video, or maybe the very early stages. So I'm like, we gonna drop this right before we get the baby, Riri and Rocky. And I'm like, I don't really think that was a proposal. Like, for all we know, this could be another Cardi Offset moment where they've just been married, and we will just find out later on whenever they're ready, because, you know, it's their world. And the final story of the night, I will say at this point, it is unconfirmed as far as I know, but I'm going to give you what I got because it is a hot topic all over the place right now. And this is coming from news1.com. Kevin Samuels' death rumors go viral amid unverified reports. Misogynist died at 56. Samuels has built quite the following through the way he discusses Black women. You mean dehumanizes and disrespects? A self-proclaimed relationship guru and image consultant who is better known for divisive misogynistic commentary about Black women in particular has reportedly died. However, The reports of Kevin Samuels' death that flooded social media timelines everywhere offered no immediate verification that the 56-year-old died, as his faithful followers demanded proof. As a result, Samuels' name became a top trending topic on Twitter on Thursday afternoon as people tried to sort out the facts. There's one tweet listed here. It says it's from Roland Martin. My Roland Martin Unfiltered at Black Star Network has been working to confirm whether social media influencer Kevin Samuels has passed away. We reached out to Fulton County medical examiners and was told they could not confirm or deny they have someone named Kevin Samuels there. The Instagram account for Plug Talk claims Samuels died from cardiac arrest, but the post offered no verification of its report. Other Instagram accounts quickly latched on to the same narrative without offering any confirmation. It appears that the reports of Samuels' death originated from a single social media post in which there are claims he died Thursday morning. The reactions to Samuels' alleged death have teetered between gleeful exuberance from women who have taken offense to the slanderous misogynoir and caution from those who wanted to know more. Sam's Instagram account included a video he posted on Wednesday afternoon in which he is discussing modern women and mused over whether they are a party of one. The most recent social media activity from Samuels, as his Facebook hadn't been updated since at least Tuesday. His final tweet was posted in April, but the post linked back to his Instagram. The last video he posted to his YouTube channel was about the aforementioned modern women, and it went live at the same time as the Instagram post on Wednesday. Samuels has built quite the following through the way he addresses Black women. His image consulting agency works with men who want an upgrade on their appearance, according to his website. He was recently in the news for all the wrong reasons for describing women who are at least 35 years old and unmarried as leftover women. Such a peach. I do not know if he's alive or not, but as attention-seeking as he has been since I have forcibly discovered who he was, I think by now he would have put out a statement to say, hey, you guys, I'm alive. This is one of those times where, once again, yes, I have been around long enough to know about all the various celebrity or influencer death hoax that for some reason people think is hilarious or intriguing to put out on the internet, but people generally tend to speak up quickly to let folks know, no, I'm okay, I'm alive. Because I remember quite a few years back, there was such a sickening hoax. I believe it took place on Halloween regarding comedian Gabriel Iglesias. And friends reached out to him and was like, okay, you are alive. This is what they're saying on the internet. And he quickly came on and set the record straight. I don't think that they've tried to pull that again with him. But yeah, I hope for the best. I do not agree with the man's views or sentiments, but he is someone's family member. He is someone's confidant. He is someone's special person. So, but as always, thank you for joining me here on Conversations with Taz, and I will see you tomorrow for Freeform Fridays. And as always, each one teach one, each one reach one.